Namah Shivaya. Hello, children. Welcome back to another episode where we explore the inspiring life of Sri Chandrasekharendra Saraswati Swamiji. In the previous episode, we have seen the circumstances under which he became a sannyasi, and I have already told you he was just 13 years old at that point of time. So, this young Swaminathan, who was chosen to become the next spiritual leader of the Mutt, the Peethadipati, and this is not an ordinary decision because becoming a sannyasi and a Peethadipati, it is meant that you have to leave behind all your family, your comforts, and your personal desires that you had till then, and you have to embrace the rigorous life of a sannyasi because life of a sannyasi is no way comparable to a normal life. As a normal 13-year-old boy, whatever comforts he had, whatever luxuries he had, whatever pleasures he was enjoying till then, all that will be gone. So, because of that, his parents were really heartbroken because they were not ready for this, they didn't know, and suddenly this came as a shock and they were heartbroken. Because how could they let go of their beloved son? But the elders who are there in the Matham, they reminded them, see, you have three other sons apart from Swaminathan. So why can't you give this one to serve the world? Because he is going to help thousands of people. But still, his parents were very hesitating because that is how any parent would think of, right? But at this point of time, this young Swaminathan, the 13-year-old boy, he himself stepped forward, bowed before them, and he calmly reassured them. I mean, his parents. He told them, please do not hesitate. I have my Guru's blessings and I will uphold this sacred duty. See how great it is, right? See how courageous he is. Courage is not just about facing difficulties, it is about making sacrifices for a higher purpose. He is going to serve many people. That is the higher purpose that he was looking at. Sometimes choosing the right path means stepping away from what is easy and comfortable and stepping into something which is rather difficult, but it will be benefiting many people around him. So that is the path that this small 13-year-old boy has taken. So after listening to his words, his words are filled with a lot of conviction, and so his parents' hearts were melted. So with great difficulty, they gave their consent, and they knew this is the last time they would be seeing him. Because once a person becomes a sannyasi, it is like a death of the previous life that I've already mentioned to you. So to his parents, he is no more. Even if they meet him again, he would be a sannyasi only, not their son. So that was a difficult decision for them to make. So after Swaminathan became a sannyasi, he looked just like Adi Shankaracharya himself because his head was shaved, he was dressed in saffron robes, and he was holding this staff, I mean the small stick that you call the Satyadandam, and also a kamandalam in his hand. A kamandalam is a pot filled with water. So now that he has become a sannyasi and also a Peethadipati, it doesn't mean he gets all the comforts, everybody will be respecting him. Becoming a Peethadipati is not just sitting there and blessing everybody. That person should have a lot of knowledge. So his education actually started from here, from the time he became a Peethadipati. Generally, people learn all the Vedas, the scriptures, everything, and then they become the Peethadipati. But he got the position first, but just because the position is in his hand, he didn't keep quiet. He started studying. His education was so intense, he had to master the Vedas, the Sanskrit scriptures, the logic, and philosophy. And also, soon after he became this Peethadipati, many devotees, crowds and crowds started coming to him. They're coming to the mutt and they're seeing him, and it has become so difficult for him to focus on his studies. So the elders who are there in the Kanchi Mutt, they have decided to move him to a quiet and remote place because he's being distracted by many people over here. They moved him near the Kaveri river. There is a village, and they moved him there. So there he continued his studies without any distractions. The village was very remote and it was very hard to reach. So because of that, many visitors were not coming to that place. So he could focus entirely on getting knowledge and also meditating. See, even for us, when we are studying, if we have a lot of distractions, it is very difficult for us to concentrate. So we always look for a room which is very quiet and nobody would be disturbing us. In the same way, he had to look for another village where he had to go and do that. Because apart from education, he also had to meditate, which also requires a lot of peace. That is the reason this decision was taken. During his education, there is something special because, unlike ordinary students who respect their teachers, generally we all respect our teachers, but in his case, something unusual happened. The great scholars who came to teach, they themselves prostrate in front of the student because he is the Peethadipati. Everybody used to come, instead of him paying the respects, they used to come and prostrate in front of him. But despite of this, he remained very humble and he respected his teachers a lot. We should learn one thing: true humility is respecting knowledge no matter how great we become. Nowadays, when you maybe because of the movies or because of the society, you see that we don't respect our teachers a lot, as if we know everything and as if we are so great. We some I also see some students who are commenting their teachers, which is not good. Look at this person who is so young. We know about his age. He's so young, just like you all. But see the respect that he's giving. Even though they are coming and prostrating in front of him, he was respecting his teachers a lot. And with great humility, he was learning everything from them. And the subjects what he learned is, one is Vedanta, that is philosophy, and the other one is Vyakaranam. Vyakaranam means grammar. Just like in English we have grammar, in the same way they have Vyakaranam. And Tarka Shastra. Tarka Shastra is logic. Another subject is Mimamsa. Mimamsa is scriptural interpretation. From the scriptures, they interpret many things. That is called Mimamsa. And the other subjects are mathematics, astrology, and even some other languages were also taught to him, like French, Marathi, and all those. He even took interest in Tamil literature. So he studied Periya Puranam and all those things. See, if you look at the subjects, these are way more difficult and they are varied in nature. When we compare it with your education now, it is very different. But he is learning all these things and also he is meditating. And even though he had very little time for any other things, he also was interested in arts. He had deep love for music, especially the devotional hymns, the bhajans that they sing. He had a lot of interest in that. And his teachers were amazed at how he grasped knowledge very instantly and he never forgot anything. Now, don't start thinking that just because he is someone special, who he is born special, that's the reason he got all this. No, it is because of his dedication and the meditation that he does. Every day, even if we start doing meditation, we also can have that kind of focus, and also the grasping power will increase a lot. So whenever you find time, try to meditate for some time, at least for 10 to 15 minutes every day. That's going to help you a lot. And now you have seen all his studies are related to scriptures and spirituality, but he had some other interest also. He loved photography. So he would guide the photographers on the different angles, lighting, and how the photographs are developed. Now that we have digital photography, earlier it used to be with a reel, they take the photo and then they develop it. So he loved that also. And whenever he found time, I said the village was near the Kaveri river, so he walked along the Kaveri river, enjoying nature's beauty. He was not watching TV or YouTube. So when you find time, if you can enjoy the nature, you go out in nature, spend some time alone, calmly, it's going to help you a lot. It will rejuvenate you. So that is what he was doing. So by the time Paramacharya reached 20 years of age, he had absorbed vast knowledge, and he was preparing himself for a lifetime of guiding millions of people. So what have we learned from his life? Even when there is a stressful situation, you have to be calm and focused. And even when you have a lot to study, you should know the importance of appreciating simple moments in life. We should know how to enjoy simple moments in life. That is what we are lacking in this fast life. We always tend to run, and we just forget the simple beauties. Like whenever you just wake up, come out, see the nature, enjoy it for 5 minutes at least. All these things we are not doing. Try to find some simple moments and try enjoying. Well, now coming back to his studies again, he was in Kumbakonam at that time. He was learning all these things. He was trained by Sri Ganapati Shastrigal, who is an exceptional scholar in those days. So every day, this Ganapati Shastrigal will come, and he will come to the mutt and he will teach the scriptures, Sanskrit and logic, all these things. So once during the spring season, generally the lessons would sometimes takes place on the sands of the Kaveri riverbed, because at that time during spring there is no rain, and so the riverbed is dry. So they sat in open air and the student and teacher would sit there and study. So in these days, one evening when the lesson was still going on, the teacher noticed something. This young boy was running his fingers through the sand repeatedly. The lesson is going on and he is playing with the sand. So the teacher was very upset. So the next day the teacher came, and he said, "Okay, leave. I don't want to take classes." Now Paramacharya was very surprised and he asked why. Then he explained, a true student should always completely focus on the lesson. Concentration is very much essential. That is what my guru has already taught me, always taught me. So I didn't find that in you. So Paramacharya understood why he was saying all this. So he smiled and he replied, Guruji, I was paying full attention to you. So if you wish, I will now repeat everything you taught me yesterday. And okay, the teacher said okay. And to his astonishment, Parmacharya repeated the entire lesson word for word, proving that he has absorbed every bit of knowledge that was told to him, even when he was playing with sand. Now the teacher was very humbled, and he bowed in front of this student and he said, "You do not need a teacher anymore. You can learn everything on your own." However, at this point of time, Parmacharya said, with great humility and with great respect towards his teacher, he persuaded the teachers to stay there for another 10 months, and he wanted to learn everything from him. So maybe we are thinking he's playing with the sand. No, he is fully focusing on the education. What we generally do is the reverse. We are body present and mind absent. We look at the teachers, we just stare at the teachers, but the mind will be thinking about something going on the playground. Maybe we have a free period. In the next period is a free one, and we are going to go outside, play volleyball, basketball. How can we enjoy that? Maybe we are thinking of all those things, but here we are looking at the maths teacher's face like this without turning our heads, but we are not listening. But in his case, he's not looking at the teacher, but he's completely focusing on the lesson. So we need that kind of focus and concentration when we are learning something. We should absorb everything and understand it deeply. Now look at this. The teacher has bowed in front of the student, but still the student was very humble, and he didn't say, okay, I know everything, I don't need you. He didn't say that. He requested the teacher to stay back and he learned from him. That is the respect that has to be given to the teachers. So as Parmacharya grew older, his brilliance in the scriptures and logic has become widely known. And in 1 year, during the Chaturmasya, I've told about Chaturmasya, the sacred 4-month period where these sannyasis don't go anywhere but stay in a single place. At that point of time, this Kanchi Matam has hosted gatherings for great scholars. That is called Vidvat Sadas. So this was attended by experts in multiple disciplines, and they all engage in deep discussions. So our young Parmacharya would always attend these discussions and listen everything very intently. So one day after an intense scholarly debate that was going on, some devotees asked for a clarification on a very particular complex topic that was not understood by them. So they asked for a clarification. One of the senior scholars, he is Mahamahopadhyaya Harihara Shastrigal. He is such a big scholar. He stepped forward and he explained the concept for over an hour. Because that is very difficult, he tried simplifying things and explained this concept to everyone who didn't understand that. But even after this, some devotees still struggle to understand what it is. A long silence followed. because none of the scholars dared to simplify it further. It is very difficult to explain that in a simple manner. Then Acharya himself spoke, or Paramacharya. So he said, "Allow me to explain in a simpler way." Then he started explaining it using simple Sanskrit and clear examples. Okay, so he broke down the complex concept into an easily understandable explanation. The complete audience was stunned. Even the great scholars, including Harihara Shastrigal, were very much amazed. So they all immediately stood up and bowed in front of this young Paramacharya, and they acknowledged his unparalleled wisdom. So, what can we understand from this? True knowledge is not about showing off, it is always about making wisdom accessible to everyone. So, even the greatest experts must always stay humble and open to learning. Even if you have some of your friends who are not that intelligent as you and they didn't understand any concept and they're asking you, you should never feel proud. Oh, I know everything. Okay, come on, I'll tell you. Oh, you don't understand even simple topics. You should never say that. Whenever somebody is asking for something and you know that, it is your greatness if you can explain in a simple language that it is easily understandable to them. Why is Abdul Kalam so famous among children? Leave about the other things. Among children, why is he famous? Just because he uses simple language. He's such a big scientist, but you know how he speaks to children? You might have seen on the internet, so many speeches are there on the internet, and you can read his books whenever you find time. They are so simple. Even a small school child who is a 10-year-old child can also understand what he is talking about. So, that is the greatness of great scholars. So, real intelligence is always the ability to simplify things, not to complicate them. So, now we look at Paramacharya's young age. At this age, in his teens, we can understand that he had a lot of concentration, he had a lot of humility, and he also had a clarity of thought. That is what truly makes a person great. So, what are the learning points in this? Are we paying full attention to what we are learning? Just try and see. And can we explain things in a way that others can easily understand? And are we respecting and valuing our teachers no matter how much we know? Do some introspection and learn. So, thank you for listening to this podcast and join me again in my next episode where we'll explore another inspiring moment or inspiring incident from the life of Sri Paramacharya ji. So, until then, stay curious, stay humble, and keep learning. Bye bye.